Well, hello everyone. Here to show you the Matthew manual coloring right here is talking about is like the directions for most of us. If most of us here are familiar with what you call the passwords and usernames, such as the reading the user license agreements and stuff like that. That typical stuff is that you would usually read about if you were to buy a device such as a GPS, or it could be the iPhone 5, or Polaroid tablet or whatever, or maybe a new PC. That a lot of times is that you would be familiar with a lot of the products, the software products that you would buy. A lot of times, whenever you would buy them, then it would be like a user license agreement or any type of contract. You say that you would need to follow, say, the on-screen instructions. A lot of times in the manuals that they usually say that they follow the setup instructions for further information, and then from there, and then go ahead and click a menu, and then click this and click that, click the install, or anything like that for like Macintosh or whatever. But so far as the directions for, it's like for, like you say, the quick setup is talking about is for usernames and passwords, and for whatever else that you want to use it for is talk about is with the photo. Is I went ahead and use this photo right here of me, and of course that idea, the idea that I came up with, of course, is working with, it's like the Barnes Sonera, and the Sonera coloring. Let's see here that you get that kind of like it's kind of related to like a brown, type of, say, brown and red, you say type mix here. But basically, is that what I'm doing is that I went ahead and drew like a little portrait coloring, as you say, drew a picture of me. And I guess a lot of times, a lot of people would probably think that with the username and password, that it's like that they would recommend it to be about 6 to 8 characters long. And a lot of times in the directions, if you're going to be creating an account, and a lot of times with the email or whatever you call it, the pin code, a lot of times would be asked for if you could create a username and password. And of course they have it to where about 8 to 12 characters long. And I would probably say that I probably have I probably have quite a few accounts, and just having to memorize them, of course, is never a pain, because of the fact that well, it's trying to keep all of them on file. If I had a laptop, then more likely I would not have access to a lot of that information, due to the fact because of the passwords are not around, and more likely that you can maybe program your computer to where you can save whatever on a file it is. But other than that, is that you have right here is like little coloring right here of me, and it's talking about with Matthew manual. But you have it to where that just add in details. But if you could draw like a little portrait of yourself, and just add some color details right here for the face. But what you got right here is like each color, you say you use a color right here, but each color would like represent is like maybe something that you can easily memorize. Is like for a letter, the letter A. A is for apple or anything like that. A B. See, A B, or say, or maybe K. Use that the letter K. That a lot of times K, and then the C, J, and L. And then a lot of times it's like if you were to have a certain name that you would spell, say backwards, it is. But I would probably say maybe a good example would be is maybe if you want to pick like a custom shape. I would probably say that of course my favorite shape will more likely be is a square, and then not really the photo, the thumbnail type shape, but mainly is like a square is like you use. And then and of course if I want to add it's like Matt, for Matthew manual, that I can go ahead and add A right here for like a little password, and go ahead and maybe do like an upside down B right here, upside down B, and then of course is that do like use another color, but just do some creative work to it that's something that you can keep on file. So something that you can keep on file for memorize. It's like something that you can do to help keep the password memorized. It's like kind of keep it it's like the secret type clues that you have these variety of colors right here. You use the different colors to like the fine point, and then that you would add detail for whatever color that you want to use for whatever that you're doing. It's like if you want to help keep the passwords memorized, and knowing that if you forget them, you'll have to reset them, and a lot of times that a lot of people will probably say that resetting them is kind of pain also. That I know I've had to reset a couple of them that I had due to the fact because of I get locked out or whatever. But there's probably a lot of people who probably say that happens about almost all the time, and really if there's really a limit for how many times you can get locked out before that you had to before any type of technical reports or you say are issued. But basically is that is talking about with the Matthew Manual is my opinion about following the instructions for you say of reading the main as like instructions for logging on, and of course doing stuff online. And I would probably tell you that with my opinion about the user, the policies and stuff like that, which most people would probably say that they just click accept or whatever. They don't even bother to read whatever. That they just go ahead and just read parts of it and then click accept, go to the next step, and a lot of times that I would probably say that sometimes that's what I usually do. Maybe if you already read whatever it said, that you would go ahead and go to the next step. But then on the other hand too, the companies will probably say that it's recommended to go ahead and read and understand everything that what the policy says about whatever the instructions of for downloading and installing the software, because a lot of times the companies would probably say that depend on the system you're using, of course, is to know that if the software that you're trying to install is supported, if it's a supported software, or if it's the fact that if it could be installed properly, then it would probably let you know if anything that failed. But other than that, is that getting yourself some ideas for ways to help you be able to memorize about 15, maybe 20 different passwords. Is that one color could represent maybe the number. It's like for if I want to write that my first name spelled backwards, it's like TTAM. It's like TTAM12, or it's like that the password could start the password could maybe be something like M. It's like change like say the title, and say on the labels it is. Go ahead and do like sideways T, and then go ahead and maybe put other than that go ahead and put maybe capital TT 27, something like that. And a lot of times with most companies, they would probably say that make sure that the cap lock, that they would say that with most companies with cap lock, that a lot of times if it's allowed, if anything, one capital letter. But more likely, I would suggest that if anything, if you're gonna use one capital letter, then if anything is just like something that offhand. But other than that really, I don't know if there's really any better way of being able to memorize your usernames and passwords, anything to keep your information protected. And I would probably say that I would suggest that maybe do something like this, to where that you would draw like a little portrait, say, of yourself, and and then it can maybe be a pet or whatever, but anything that you can do artistically, anything you can do creatively, that more likely that I guess that's really what the online sites are really asking for, is for you to come up with something that only you can memorize, and then to know if it's you that's logging on to that site, because other than that, then more likely you'll get locked out. I've gotten locked out a couple of times, but other than that, is that with the variety of you say, I probably have a variety of colors here to work with, but on the other hand too, is it talking about with these variety of colors, and then of course with the variety of things that you can do for, say, for memorizing maybe a variety of passwords, usernames and passwords it is. But then of course on the other hand too, that you say that there's only one photo, there's only one, say, image obviously of yourself, and this one idea of what you can use is like to help yourself memorize maybe 50 or more passwords, is to kind of give your face like another custom color, such as maybe a pink or something like that. It's like you don't have a written manual for what I'm doing, but then on the other hand too, that it's like I got what you call that written mind. It's like for what I want to do is that put in detail for, is like keep whatever information that I want to keep private. It's like keep it protected with. It's like you have like a little image right there, and then of course it's like the note to keep to. It's like for the reference book. It's like for the manual is of course is something to keep memorized. And a lot of times it's like you probably say that something to keep memorized, and then along with that, and you say this similar thing that you can maybe learn in the first and second grade. It's like if you want to pick a number, of the, say, the category between 1 and 10, mine would maybe be 8. Go and pick the number 8 and draw a circle around it. Draw a circle around it, and of course it's like if I could maybe say pick a number and then go ahead and draw a circle around it, and then along with that, and then go ahead and include what you say is like a shape to go with it, and then with that shape go ahead and add a letter, and then of course my letter will be is like M for my, or M for what you call as for Matt or anything like that. But other than that, and then after that, and then go ahead and maybe put like you say maybe like a little artistic figure, say P, backwards P it is, kind of looks like a 9, but see is for for P, for P is like M and then P, and then if you want to do, say, another number, you say go as like 1, 8, and then kind of do it sideways like that. But then on the other hand too, if you were to type it in like on the computer, that anything like that, I would probably say anything that like this will be like what you call as like an ID, like a little ID icon that you can use. But anyway, more likely I can maybe go on for different things I can maybe think of I can do, that more likely that I guess you say we all get the hang of it now, that is like say you using a photo is like so far is for an example for what you want to do, what you say is like for a manual for directions of how to do it yourself, and then that tips about it's like suggestions or whatever for how to memorize all your passwords, is to know it's like between what is the requirements and what's maybe recommended. That a lot of times they would probably say that what is recommended is the course is not to give out any personal information, of course, and then and what is required is to know is that what letters and numbers what your password and username password contain, and if it's a verification code or whatever. But on the other hand too, we also know that more likely that it needs to, it's like that that there if anything, there's only one photo that you can, that you need to really concentrate on, and of course, is talking about is yourself. It's like to, to be able to prove that that's you that's trying to access that information, is to know that about you, of course, is like by a variety of colors. One of those variety of colors, of course, could be, it's like between a mix of green. So you go and pick maybe two colors, the crayons. You get the green is like a forest green it is, and then along with this, like for the say for the blue right here, and of course go ahead and use the fine point, but you go ahead and use this like for Matt, for Matthew, say for 20 and then 25. Other than that, it's like for that, it's like for the Matthew manual in color.